Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and today I am speaking with Melanie Demb. Melanie is an insurance agent with Liberty Mutual based in Crofton, Maryland. She currently is licensed in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Delaware, and Pennsylvania. And her passion for client engagement and enhancing the overall customer experience stems from an extensive background in the event management industry. Melanie, in this episode, clearly knows a lot about what she's talking about. She's very knowledgeable when it comes to insurance. We talk a little bit about how, there's potentially things that you have updated in your life or that have changed in your life, whether it was due to COVID or due to just, your personal growth, where you may actually find some discounts with your insurance, depending on what it is. Melanie is mainly in property insurance, but she knows a lot about a bunch of different ones, different types of insurance. So she talks about a little bit of all of them in this episode. I really enjoyed the episode. If you want to reach out to her, all of the links are in the description below. Also, please subscribe to the episode to the podcast if you enjoy it. It helps us, kind of know who's out there listening, and helps our guests as well. Gets them a little bit more notoriety. So thanks again. Enjoy the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to Elevator Pitch. My name is Joe Ennis, and today I am speaking with Melanie Demb. Melanie, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
So tell us a little bit more about what you do.
Yeah, so like Joe said, my name is Melanie Demb. I am an insurance agent with Liberty Mutual, specifically based in their Crofton, Maryland office. So I am licensed in Maryland, DC, Virginia, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. And I specialize in property and casualty insurance, which is your auto, your property, your pet, your jewelry insurance, et cetera. And then I can also write life insurance and annuities, as well as some specialty lines such as watercraft and personal liability policies.
That's awesome. That's a lot of stuff. First off, I have to say I had no idea until until you reached out to me to do this that there was such thing as pet insurance. I didn't actually know that, but that's kind of cool. Do you have like a, just right off the bat, is there something that maybe out of those things that you either specialize in or that a lot of people might come to you for specifically?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically I get clients for specifically property and casualty insurance, so the auto and the home side. Mm-hmm. Those are probably the most common, I would say, because they're required. So most of my customers come to me for those, and throughout the process of working with them, we uncover additional needs and are able to get into those additional lines of insurance.
Awesome. Melanie, what are some of the biggest issues that you see in the insurance world? I know, it's probably stuff along the lines of just people not knowing what they need or things like that, or maybe just not knowing what they have. But what are some of the biggest issues that you see, and how do you try and come alongside your clients to make sure that, those issues are not a factor?
Sure. Yeah. So you kind of hit the nail on the head there. I would say one of the biggest issues, that I see with customers is just having that mindset upfront to obtain the minimum requirements and the least expensive coverage. Everyone's needs are different. So when I speak with a customer, I really want to educate them on, what is needed above the minimum limits, but also learn a lot about them specifically to uncover what specifically they need for themselves. So insurance can be pretty pricey at times, and depending, on the risk, there's so many different coverages that can be applied. So I just want to make sure that their needs are being met and they're not just getting that minimum coverage. Similarly, when it comes to like life insurance, the life insurance side of things, people think that because, it's not required, or they're young and they're healthy and, they're single, they don't have any kids, that it's not needed. But everybody needs some type of coverage. And so it's my job to just, learn about them and educate them on, what's available and what they specifically should have for themselves.
That's awesome. That's great. I recently went through like a whole insurance thing. I got a new car in May, and I didn't really know what I was doing when it came to insurance because I, always was on someone else's plan. But I had this whole mistake of going way too cheap, thinking it was fine, and then I got into some sort of accident that was not my fault, but kind of ended up being on me, and I didn't have it covered. And now I'm all about figuring out what kind of plan that I have, even if it's a little bit more expensive, so that I can make sure that doesn't happen again. Melanie, there's a lot of insurance agents out there. There's a lot of insurance companies. What would you say sets you apart from, some of those other insurance agents? Why should people work with you?
So that's a great question. I would say for starters, I'm a local agent, so I'm familiar with the area that I serve. When a customer calls to get in touch with me for quotes, for recommendations, things like that, I'm very much able to provide recommendations based on my personal experience. I was born and raised here, and I like to really speak on my own personal experience when it comes to just knowing the area, especially for those folks who are not local and are moving. In addition to that, I'm a real person. I give out my direct contact information, so it's really refreshing for customers to be able to have my cell phone number or my direct line and be able to call that rather than an 800 number. And last but not least, I know I mentioned in the beginning, I'm with Liberty Mutual, but we do offer coverages from a lot of our partner carriers. So I'm able to kind of shop around for customers where, if for some reason the Liberty Mutual rate or the coverage isn't quite what the customer needs, I'm able to look into our partner carriers and actually be able to provide rates from about 15 other A-rated carriers. So kind of takes the load off the customer. We're able to do the shopping around for them and serve as that one-stop shop. So they're not, calling around and getting different rates from everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's cool that, you can kind of just go to one person. First off, have a direct, connection with them so that you can contact them directly, and then, be able to trust that they're going to be able to check everywhere for you and not just give you one rate. That's really cool. Melanie, why should, I mean, we kind of, it's kind of a goofy question probably to some, but why should people care about, what insurance they have? And you hit on it a little bit at the beginning, but, why is it important that people know what they have covered, that they look into their plans? Why is this something that people should pay attention to? Maybe more than they do.
Yeah, no, I was going to say you kind of hit the nail on the head earlier with your personal experience. A lot of people don't realize the coverage that they have until they get into an accident or they have a claim within their household and it's not covered. And unfortunately, those are some of the bad experiences that you hear about where, hey, I had a water backup claim in my basement and I didn't have the coverage. And so I was out thousands of dollars to have to cover that on my own. And so I think it's really important to spend time learning about your insurance and make the right coverage decisions, because it'll save you a lot of money later on. And, at the end of the day, it'll save you a lot of time too. If you, call to file a claim and unfortunately have an incident where you do have to get insurance to cover it, it goes a lot quicker when it's covered. So that process can be a lot quicker. I would also say this is true for all lines of insurance. It's always important to check in with your insurance agent to review your needs every couple of years. A lot of people especially now, are doing a lot of projects at home and are, making a lot of changes to their lifestyle. So it's really important to check in, make sure your coverage is still relevant. And, by doing that and by being able to kind of check in, you're also going to learn about the coverage that you have and be able to just be educated when it comes to those things. And then specifically from the life insurance side, I can't stress enough how important life insurance is. If anything were to happen to you, you want to make sure that anyone who depends on you and your loved ones are covered, especially from a financial standpoint. So I think, it's good to know about that side of things as well. We get a lot of customers who have life insurance coverage through their work, which is fantastic. It's a great benefit, but it's one of those things that, people don't necessarily know how much coverage they have and if it's enough. And, on top of that, they, might change jobs and that coverage goes away. So it's just nice to be educated about it. And, just, you want to know what you're paying for. And then on the other side of things, you want to know, if God forbid I have some sort of situation where I need coverage, you want to make sure that you're covered.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. I was going to ask two questions.
Mhm.
Number one, is there any these both have to do with, maybe tips to listeners, but is there anything that maybe people who currently have probably all their insurance in structured how they, they're pretty on top of things. Are there any things that you could potentially say that, and I don't know the answer to this, maybe it's just there's nothing changed, but after like COVID and everything, did anything change where you would recommend people maybe take a look back at their insurance plans to see if anything changed? Are there any specific things that you saw change in plans that maybe people should, look into?
That's a great question. I would say a big thing is, people are driving less. So their needs might change as it pertains to, maybe they're not driving to work every day. And so there might be some discounts that they can look into with their insurance carrier to say, hey, I'm not driving as much, so I might not be as much of a risk. Or maybe, I know actually some of the carriers that we work with do offer a discount if you work from home. And so that's helpful. Always good to check in if there's any discounts that can be received. And then in addition to that, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of home improvement projects are happening and a lot of changes on that front, especially, people are refinancing, people are buying, they're selling. So definitely good, even when you don't necessarily have to make updates to your insurance. It's good to check in because, big discounts that we offer are like a new roof discount. If you get a new roof, it's definitely good to check in. If you get a Ring doorbell system or an ADT security, those are things that you can be receiving discounts for. So I would say any updates to your house that you're making, let your insurance company know. It may not be important, it may not impact your rate. However, you do just want to make sure that it's covered and you're updating them every once in a while.
Yeah,
I hope that answered your question.
yeah, 100%. And hopefully, maybe you save money in the process, obviously.
Right.
They
Exactly.
might literally give you free money, basically. So, and then the other question that I had was for people that are listening to this that maybe have no idea what they should have covered. Maybe they're young people that are, just stepping out from their parents' insurance plans or whatever. Or maybe it's, older people who haven't really taken, time to see what insurance they have. What tips would you recommend someone who's just getting started in that area to, find the perfect plan for them?
I would say to contact a local agent. I think, it's always good to talk to someone that you feel comfortable speaking with and who can really answer your questions right away. I think before I got into the insurance industry, I was always kind of going online for my policies and just entering my information online. Everything is, it's pretty easy to do a lot of things online these days, but it's really important to actually talk to someone who can provide guidance, who can recommend products, who can recommend coverage. At the end of the day, we're just trying to make sure that you're covered. And I think that a local agent who, is a real person for that matter, not necessarily like a recording or a computer, is going to be a lot more beneficial to be able to provide those recommendations, especially for someone who's starting out and might not, really have a lot of insight already. And really quick to go back to your last question, just to add, a lot of people I know during this time have been getting pets. So I know you said pet insurance is something that
Yeah,
you
I
weren't
had no
really aware
idea.
of. But I mean, I'm one of them. I got a puppy during quarantine. He's fabulous, but it's so important to have that coverage, not only because certain types of plans can cover those shots up front, and certain types of plans as well can cover any, accidents, illnesses. Puppies get into some trouble a lot, so those plans can cover it. But on top of that, if you get a pet, it's really important to notify your insurance carrier from the home insurance side, because from a liability standpoint, you want to make sure if God forbid this dog gets into an altercation with someone or gets into, some trouble, you want to be covered from the liability side. So that's a huge one to notify your home insurance carrier about.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, that's good to know. Melanie, in closing, thank you again. Who are your ideal clients? Do you work with people that are, do you prefer people that are maybe more experienced in kind of switching plans? Do you work with people that are brand new and have no idea what they're doing? Who are your ideal clients to work with?
The benefit of what I do, I can work with all types of clients, and I really don't have I like working with all types of clients, I'd say. I would say that, to narrow it down a bit, those who are purchasing, a new vehicle or purchasing a home are huge, indicators that you need to do some updating to your insurance or you need a new policy. So I do find myself working with those customers more often. And then, like I said, new pet owners, I like educating people about their coverage. So I think, if you really need the information and you have a lot of questions, I'm your girl. Happy to spend as much time as needed, just kind of getting you comfortable with everything that you have.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And in addition to that, again, from the life insurance side, if you're getting married, having a baby, changing jobs, those are my customers as well.
That's awesome. And finally, obviously, please plug away. How can people get in touch with you if they have questions on any of that stuff? What's the best way to reach out?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, you can reach me directly by phone. That number to my direct work line is 301-666-3157. You can also reach out to me by email. It's my first name, Melanie.lastname.Dem@libertymutual.com. And then, of course, I'm on Facebook. I post insurance-related information, tips, all that fun stuff. And you can just find me by searching Melanie Demb, Liberty Mutual Insurance Agent. I'll pop right up. And then all of my information is actually also listed on my agent website, which is libertymutual.com/Melanie-Demb.
Cool. Awesome. And listeners, as always, all of the links that she just mentioned will be in the description of this video, whether you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple or Spotify or wherever you are. All the links are in the description, so definitely get in touch with Melanie. Even if you just want to talk and have a few questions for her, I'm sure she would love to talk to you. Melanie, thank you so much for being here again.
Thanks, Joe. Thanks for having me, and it's been great.
Hey, I want to thank Melanie one more time for coming on. It was a really great episode. If you are listening on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple, please subscribe. If you're on YouTube, you can actually click the button above my head to do that, or you can click on one of these episodes and watch another one. Thank you guys again for listening. It means a lot to me and my guests. Have a great day.